I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, I'm speaking to a fantastic author who has written an essential book. His name is Clem Suder, and he offers a profound exploration in the book called A Place for You, The End of Days. Based on a vision experienced by the author, the book dives deep into the personal sanctuary Jesus mentioned, emphasizing its individual essence rather than a communal haven. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Authors Reputation Press for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and, more importantly, purchasing this amazing book. Clem, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
It's my pleasure. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you. Such an honor to have you on our show. This is such a great book. I think it offers a lot of profound wisdom for people. I think if you're a person of faith, it'll enhance your faith. If you're a person who's questioning their faith, I think it'll reaffirm your faith. Tell us a little bit about this vision that you had that became the foundation of your book.
Well, I had a brain injury, so my memory was shot. And like anything else, I had to find myself first. So I prayed a lot about it, and I read the Bible and things like that, trying to improve myself. And one afternoon, this is 7 years after the brain injury, I laid down on the bed, and I asked God, because I had read something in the Bible that said, Jesus replied to the Sanhedrin, he says, I require mercy, I do not require sacrifice. If you knew the difference, you would know where my authority comes from. And that really struck me because I thought, well, it sounds like a simple difference, but it's not. So I prayed and asked for an understanding of what that could be. And that's when the vision started. And it was an amazing journey.
That is amazing. I'd imagine this renewed your faith. And it just must have felt miraculous at the time that you were having these visions, right?
Yes, it did. I thought I was going crazy at first. I thought, this just doesn't seem possible. This kind of stuff's Old Testament kind of thing. It's not something that was supposed to happen today. It was really amazing to me. So, but it all came into focus after the vision.
The central theme of your book seems to be about the place Jesus mentioned he was preparing. How do you envision this place or interpret this place, and how does it differ from more common interpretations?
Well, I envision the place that he's talking about, we consider it today raptured, because we think, if you look up the word, we don't use it very much anymore. It means joy, or just joy and wonderful feelings.
Yeah, like pure happiness, the essence of all happiness.
Right, which is where Jesus had to go in order to face the crucifixion. So that's how he prepared the place for us. And that's why he could be crucified and not cuss everybody out and not blame everybody else. He faced it. And the only time he showed his own will was when he was on the cross, and he looked up and said, Father, why have you forsaken me?
Yeah.
That was his will. Other than that, Jesus' whole life was about his Father's will. And I think that's what he was preparing for us. And that's what the resurrection was all about. If I prepare a place for you, I will come and show you. And that's what he did.
Amen. You know, your book talks about the importance of individualism and personal sanctuary over unity and community, I guess you'd say. Tell us a little bit about the emphasis you put on this perspective.
Well, I think that we talk about Testament, the New Testament, the Old Testament is different covenants, but one doesn't negate the other. They are both very applicable. And what happens is, individually, people used to talk to God or want to talk to God, and they had to go to church to do it. They had to go through their social group to find a way to talk to God. And when they asked Jesus about it, he said, "No, our Father, yours and mine, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Sacred is your name." Because we can't name something we can't define. And if we name it, we think we can define it. And anytime you define something, you limit it. And God cannot be limited.
Absolutely. Looking at the title of your book, A Place for You, The End of Days, how do you envision the end of time? How do you envision the apocalypse, or however it might be described?
Well, I think the end of days is what I put down, not the end of time.
Mhm.
Very important that people understand the end of days. Days as we know them is going to happen. And it's happening right now, actually. You see the world changing and how rapidly it's changing uh, because of really the falsehoods that religion kind of strengthens and
Mhm.
maintains. So it becomes a very important ingredient that people understand it is the individual, not the community. When you talk about religion, you're talking about somebody else's interpretation of how you relate to God,
Mhm.
not your own. And that's why I'm not anti religious. I think the church could do wonderful things, but they are a place that you're supposed to go to celebrate your relationship with God, with
Yeah.
other people who feel as you do, but not a place that's supposed to judge you or judge people and say they don't believe this way, so they can't go to heaven. No one knows that. I think that as we go through the struggles and the suffering that we're going through right now, and it's going to get worse, we need to comprehend that there is a plan. And the plan was that the individual choose to go to the place that Jesus prepared. In order to do that, I've written 4 books on the subject,
Mhm.
trying to help people to understand that that place is not somewhere where somebody can direct you, it's yours. You need to find it and you need to commit yourself to it. It's
When,
a it's a
when you
place.
look at what's happening around the world right now, in Ukraine, in Israel, even in the United States with all the school shootings and mall shootings, and are these the terrible things that you predict to come in your book and that we'll need to find sanctuary from?
There are some of them. It's actually going to get worse
Yeah.
before it gets better, but it will get better. That's the nice thing about it. Heaven is going to be here on earth, but it's only going to be possible if people understand that place and go to that place and don't judge other people, but allow them to find ways to help each other to overcome all of the problems that they have, not tell each other what they should be doing or what we think that their goal is, but help them to help all to increase.
How do you get to that place? How do you get to that sanctuary? How do you get to the place that Jesus described?
Well, to be honest with you, I was pretty lucky my whole life.
Mm.
Even as a child, I knew that there was a God. I didn't understand all of it, but I felt him in my life.
Mm.
And as I went on, sure, I made lots of mistakes. Well, mistakes. I was a handful, but at the same time, uh, I always knew, and I was always aware that he was in my life and knew. I mean, I've always agreed and done everything I should have done, but he was always there. So for me, when I had the brain injury,
Mm.
it was a total. I mean, I was a regional manager at one point, so it was quite at the point I had the injury. So it was quite a devastating event.
Mm.
It was really hard. But to find that place he's looking for you.
Yeah.
He wants you. It's not like you're going to go someplace to find him. He's finding you, but you have to be willing to ask.
Yeah. You
And
have to open up your heart. You have to open up your mind. You have to be a person of faith.
right.
This book is fantastic. It is called A Place for You, The End of Days. It is based on a vision experienced by Clem Suder, and the book dives into the personal sanctuary Jesus mentioned. It's an amazing book. It'll renew your faith. It'll restore your faith. Well worth purchasing. The links are below this interview. Clem, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
It's been my pleasure. It really has been.
The honor has been all mine, sir. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.